Hello, my name is Debbie from Tarot 21, Tarot for the 21st Century. And these short videos that I do contain little snippets of tarot wisdom and are just perfect for anybody who wants to learn tarot or understand tarot. So welcome to video number 12. And today we're going to take a fool's journey through the Major Arcana. The Major Arcana represents all those major influences and spiritual lessons and significant phases in our life. It's the turning points that we reach. And the Fool's Journey is a metaphor for our journey through life. Each of the Major Arcana cards stands for a lesson that we learn on that journey, an experience that we must undergo to be the best that we can be and achieve our highest potential. There's 3 different levels of learning on this journey. Level 1 are cards 1 to 8. And these are the teachers and guides that teach the Fool about rules and structure, and it's about the level of his conscious thinking. Cards 9 to 15 take the Fool within. It's about his self-image, his personality, and this is where he learns to work with his subconscious mind. The final stage of this journey is covered by cards 16 to 21, and this is where he learns about spiritual awareness and wisdom. He learns to rise above his ego, to become more open-minded and enlightened. He learns to trust and work with his superconscious mind. And once the Fool completes his journey, he simply starts all over again, only this time wiser and more experienced. Then we start the journey, we introduce ourselves to the Fool, and the Fool is numbered 0 in the tarot deck, and he can be placed either at the beginning or the end. You know, in numerology, 0 stands for limitless possibilities and opportunities. And we see the Fool walk out innocently into the world, happy to follow his heart and just see what happens. He is a Fool only because of his purity, his innocence, and lack of any life experience. He doesn't know where he's going. He just has a positive attitude and lots of faith, and he's just going to do it. Now, the first teacher that the Fool meets is a magician, and the magician is going to teach the Fool a very important lesson, and that is we must have clear intentions and know exactly what it is we want in life. We all have the talents and the skills that we need, and they are represented by all the different suits that are in front of the magician on his table. We have the talent and skills to manifest anything that we want, but we have to remember we can only have what we want if it is, if we're very clear, if it is, we know what it is we want. We have to be very, very clear about that. Now, the next teacher that the Fool meets is the High Priestess, and she teaches the Fool to trust his intuition. The High Priestess encourages him to walk his own path and seek his own truth. Next up is the Empress, and she's a beautiful woman connected to nature. She's very comfortable in her own skin. She's sensual, sexy. She's always creating something. It might be an idea or a concept or even a child. Creativity is really important if we want to be free to walk our own path. Next is the Emperor, and the Emperor is here to teach the Fool about structure and order because he truly believes that benefits people. So even though people lose their freedom from all these structure and rules, he absolutely believes it's the right thing to do because people feel more secure. People feel safe when there is structure. Then the Fool encounters the Hierophant, and the Hierophant likes to gather like-minded people together so that everybody has the same values and beliefs. And here the Fool learns about the traditional values and traditional beliefs. It's more about religion rather than spirituality. Next, he comes across the Lovers, and now he's ready to experience relationship. Here he learns about attraction and deep connection between two people. Before, he only had himself to think about, but now he learns to reach out and become part of a loving relationship. And then there's a Chariot. The Chariot isn't interested in love relationships. He's much more interested in teaching the Fool to express himself and enjoy his own ego. He's developed a strong sense of identity, and through sheer discipline and willpower, he's developed an inner control which allows him to triumph over his environment. Next is the teacher. Next card is the Strength card. And the Strength is here to teach the Fool all about his inner power. It's about knowing your inner strength. It's a feminine kind of strength. In the Chariot, the Fool learned about masculine control, but here in the Strength card, he learns a softer feminine control. He learns that sometimes we can't always just dive straight in with lots of ego. Sometimes we have to draw on our softer side, our inner strength. So this card is all about taming your ego, which can take courage. Now the Fool starts at part 2 of the journey, and he starts to reflect on his life so far. The first person he meets here is the Hermit, and the Hermit shows him that he's reached a pivotal point on his journey, and he needs just to stop and reflect on where he wants to go and what he wants to do. It's time for some soul searching and a bit of introspection to reconnect and listen to his own inner wisdom so that he can light the way forward and walk his own path. Next, the Fool encounters the Wheel of Fortune. It's time to reevaluate what he's just been through before he starts something new. The Wheel of Fortune represents that life is constantly moving and changing. It's when one cycle finishes and a new cycle is beginning. Next up is Justice. Justice is number 11, and in numerology, 11 is the idealist. Here the Fool learns about speaking up, doing what is right, doing what he believes in. It's about finding that balance in life. The Fool then bumps into the Hangman, and the Hangman is hanging from this tree because he can't move forward in life unless he learns to let go. So here the Fool has time to meditate on what has happened, and he finds that when he surrenders his struggles for control, everything begins to work out as it should. By becoming open and vulnerable, the Fool discovers the miraculous support of his inner self. He learns to surrender to his experiences rather than fighting them. The Fool learns that sometimes we just have to stop in order to move forward. Now we come to the Death card, and the Fool is now beginning to realize he wants to give up old habits. He realizes that there are things he believed in, he did, things that he thought were important that no longer serve any purpose. It's time to end those things and put them behind him. And the process can sometimes feel like dying because it's death of the familiar self to make space for the growth of a new one. At times, this inevitable change can be a bit overwhelming, but eventually the Fool rises up to discover that death is not permanent. It is simply a transition to a new, more fulfilling way of life. Temperance. It's a beautiful card. This shows the Fool that balance in life is important. The Fool's journey so far has seen him swing emotionally backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Now he gets to experience the stability of temperance. By experiencing the extremes, he's come to appreciate moderation. The Fool has combined all aspects of himself into a centered whole that glows with health and well-being. The Fool has come a long way in realizing the harmonious life that he is now leading. The Fool has his health, peace of mind, and a graceful composure. What more could he need? Well, maybe on everyday terms, not much, but the Fool is courageous, and he continues to pursue the deepest levels of his being. And so he comes face to face with the devil. Now, the devil is not an evil, sinister figure residing outside of us. He's that part of us that is unaware. It's that part of us that's ignorant or hopeless, that we all have lodged within us at some level. It's when we find ourselves wanting or succumbing to all the excesses and attractions of the material world. So often they blind us that we often do not even realize we are slaves to our desires. Now the Fool has reached the final stage of his journey so far, and he is ready to be enlightened, to be spiritually aware. And the next card is the Tower. What can I say about the Tower that isn't obvious? This is having that proverbial rug pulled from under our feet and coming back down to earth with a great big thump. Everything the Fool thought he knew or had has gone, but sometimes when we least expect it, something drastic has to happen so that we can begin again, but from a different place, somewhere different than we were before, from a place of strength, honesty, or even spiritual growth. The opportunity the Fool has here with the Tower is that he can rebuild. He can focus on what he really wants, how he wants to be, and start again. This time with better, stronger foundations, and he can build something more stable. With the experience will help him to grow as an individual and enable him to be wiser and more resilient. Next, we have a woman pictured in the card. The woman pictured in the card is naked. Her soul is no longer hidden behind any disguise. Radiant stars shine in the cloudless sky, serving as a beacon of hope and inspiration. The Fool is blessed with a trust that completely replaces the negative energies of the devil. His faith in himself and the future is restored. He is filled with joy, and his one wish is to share it generously with the rest of the world. He now has his heart open, and his love pours out freely. This peace after the storm is a magical moment for the Fool. Is there another challenge for the Fool? In fact, it is his bliss that makes him vulnerable to the illusions of the moon. The Fool's joy is a feeling state. His positive emotions are not yet subject to mental clarity. And in his dreamy condition, the Fool is very susceptible to fantasy and distortion and a false picture of the truth. The moon stimulates the creative imagination. It opens a way for bizarre and beautiful thoughts to bubble up from that unconscious mind. But deep-seated fears and anxieties also arise. These experiences may cause a Fool to feel lost and bewildered at times. But now he's starting to enjoy a new, vibrant energy and enthusiasm. The Fool is a naked babe pictured on this card, riding out joyously to face a new day. No challenge is too daunting. The Fool feels a radiant vitality. He becomes involved in grand undertakings as he draws himself everything that he needs, he draws to himself, and he's able to realize his greatness. The Fool has been reborn. His false ego self has been shed, allowing his radiant true self to manifest. He has discovered that joy, not fear, is at life's centre. The Fool feels absolved. He forgives himself and others, knowing that his real self is pure and good. He may regret past mistakes, but he knows they were due to his ignorance of his true nature. He feels cleansed and refreshed, ready to start anew. It's time for the Fool to make a deeper judgment about his life. His own personal day of reckoning has arrived. Since he now sees himself truly, he can make the necessary decisions about the future. He can choose wisely which values to cherish and which to discard. And the last part of the cycle is the World card. We have to go back and share everything that we've learned, share all the gifts that we have found on the way to help others on their journey. And so the Fool's journey starts all over again, but this time wiser and more experienced. He is ready to experience life as full and meaningful as he can. The future is filled with infinite promise. He now shares his unique gifts and talents and finds that he prospers at whatever he attempts. Well, that was a very quick run through on the Fool's Journey. Apologies, I had a bit of a frog in my throat at times there. But thank you for watching the video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and look out for more videos coming shortly. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, stay safe and be happy.